here. I really appreciate it. You know, living in a safe community is absolutely critical for all of our families. It doesn't matter if you're a parent walking your kids to school in the morning, or they're walking alone, or you're driving to work or walking to work, or you're a small business owner yourself operating a small business. Where you work is critical. It's got to be safe, or you won't want to go to work. And of course, where you sleep at night. Crime is a issue that impacts all of us in this country every day in our lives. Now, being safe in our communities is one of the key issues that are in front of voters. Early voting's been going on, but tomorrow on election day. This is one of the top issues in America. And it's no different anywhere in the country than it is here in Lewiston, Maine. Over the past year, crime has increased in Lewiston, whether it be robberies or thefts, all kinds of thefts, drug-related crimes. In 2021, here in Lewiston, Maine, there were 13 shootings. This year, 10 months into this year, in 2022, there have been 21 shootings. 9 of those shootings, folks got hit. Last Thursday, as I understand it, there were 2 additional shootings, or 2 of those shootings, here in Lewiston. Over the weekend, there was another shooting. Crime is an issue throughout this country, including here in Lewiston, Maine. Now, when you have an agenda that is so extreme that you want to defund the police, it has a big impact on the folks who work here. Folks retire early. Our police officers are more difficult to recruit. Here at the Lewiston PD, as I understand it, there are about 10 positions that continue to be open. Now, there's another issue that leads to crime in America, leads to crime in Maine, leads to crime in Lewiston, Maine. And that's our open border with Mexico. The Biden administration and this very extreme Democrat agenda that is defunding the police is also keeping our border with Mexico wide open. One of the first actions that Joe Biden did was to invite everybody into this country, even if they come in illegally. Most are allowed to stay here. We have to take care of these people. And also it leads to an open border that is so porous, we now have a flood of fentanyl throughout our country. In January, I traveled to El Paso, Texas, and I met with our Border Patrol agents. I met with sheriffs along the border. I met with local police departments along the border, and I toured the wall. And I'll tell you, it is chaotic and it is dangerous. I'll never forget when we were visiting a local police station east of El Paso. We walked into the PD, and the fellow that was running, the chief that was running the station, said, "Bruce, we're going to walk through the police department here, and I want you to take a look at who's here." The place was packed to the gills with folks, he said, are not from the United States. And folks that are here illegally, of course. They've committed crimes, and they are not the local folks that they would normally see. He then showed me a storeroom, and packed from floor to ceiling in this little police station along the border east of El Paso was stacked with drugs. Now, this is a 5-pound bag of flour. 5 pounds. If this were fentanyl, this has the potency to kill every man, woman, and child in the state of Maine. 5 pounds. Now, last year, there were about 11,000 pounds, 11,000 pounds of fentanyl that was seized coming over our border with Mexico that's wide open. Now, nobody knows how much actually got through. That's the amount that was seized. You know, I'll tell you, when you have a drug like this that is 50 times more powerful than heroin, 50 times. A lot of these pills now, these fentanyl pills, are rainbow colored to attract our kids. You know, back in the 60s and 70s, folks would make mistakes. We all do. It wasn't me, by the way, but folks do make mistakes. And they took illicit drugs back there, but they were able to recover and go on with their lives. Today, this drug is so deadly and so powerful, we are now setting overdose death records here in the state of Maine. We're losing almost 2 people a day in the state of Maine, primarily because of fentanyl. And this fentanyl is driving up crime in Lewiston and throughout the 2nd District and throughout Maine. We will never fix this drug-related crime problem in Lewiston and the state of Maine unless we secure our border with Mexico. Jared Golden, to my knowledge, has never been to the border. He's never toured our border with Mexico. He's never met with the Border Patrol agents as I have. If he did, he would not vote 87% of the time with Joe Biden. Jared Golden is not a moderate. He votes 87% of the time with the most extreme president we have had in my lifetime, Joe Biden. A lot of us have personal stories. I have one older brother, Jim, who was a great guy. He's no longer with us. He dealt with 35 years of alcohol and drug abuse, and it got to him, and he's no longer with us. He's been gone for about 20 years. I understand this issue well. I understand that it's killing our kids, and it's also causing crime in our neighborhoods here in Lewiston and beyond. This is a top priority for me. I've spoken about this since I entered the race in August of 2021. One of the top priorities, we must secure our border with Mexico. We need to know who's coming in this country. They must come in this country legally, and we must do everything we can to stop this flow of deadly fentanyl that's coming in. When I was serving in Congress, we had the most secure border in 30 years. We don't anymore. We've got to make a change. It's got to start tomorrow. With that, I'd like to introduce one of our terrific community leaders, Rick Chappelle.